Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make these incredibly easy but oh so delicious gluten-free churros. They're made with a chew paste that's gluten-free of course, and they're really simple to make and very addictive. So let's get started. I put in a saucepan equal amounts of whole milk and water, so that's 3/4 a cup or 180 mils of whole milk and water, and also one stick or 113 milligrams of butter cut into pieces, along with a pinch of salt and 1 tablespoon of granulated sugar. And I'm going to get this on the heat over a medium low heat, and I don't want to rush this because we want the sugar to dissolve and also the butter to melt. I'm speeding it up right now for the sake of this video, but this process will generally take 3 to 4 minutes. And then I'm going to add in 1 cup or 140 grams of my all-purpose gluten-free flour blend. You may be able to substitute with a store-bought blend. I haven't tried it yet, so I'm not sure. And I turn off the heat, and I'm going to stir this in with a wooden spoon. It's going to get really hard to stir in a minute because it's going to really thicken up. And just go with it. Put your elbow grease in there, and then we're gonna, once it comes into a ball like this right now, we'll go ahead and turn the heat back on to about a medium high, just so we can cook out any additional moisture and also that flour taste. And this will only take 1 to 2 minutes or so. Of course, I've sped it up for the sake of the video, but you'll see this film at the bottom of the pan, and that's when you know you're about there. So turn off the heat, and what you can do at this point, you can put it in a regular bowl and mix this by hand with a lot of elbow grease because it does get tough to mix, or you can put it in your mixer or a handheld mixer. And what I'm doing is I'm mixing this at first by itself just to allow the heat to dissipate. And once the heat has dissipated, I'm going to slowly add in 5 eggs, give or take. And I say that because I beat up the eggs all together in a small measuring cup and then add a little bit at a time on low speed. And it's going to look kind of curdled like it does now, but eventually it's going to be silky smooth. And honestly, you may or may not need all 5 of those eggs. And that's why I say to go ahead and beat it up all at once, because it'd be harder. You may need like 4.5 eggs. So you want it about this consistency. Actually, I went a little beyond that consistency. I could have done with a little less eggs in there for this particular video. So a little stiffer, because when I wrap it up and put it in the fridge, it actually becomes a little bit softer. I'm not sure why that is for this gluten-free dough. It doesn't do that with regular gluten-filled dough. So anyway, I am adding it to a pastry bag fitted with a large star tip. I've got my oil preheated at 375, because as soon as I put all these in here, it's going to drop down to about 350, which is about where I want it. So we just pipe this out with one hand, and I'm using a shallow fry here, just a cast iron skillet. I've been lately into doing the shallow fry versus the deep fry because it just uses less oil. So we just put the bag in one hand and kitchen shears in the other, and cut it off with the kitchen shears. And because I'm shallow frying here, I'm going to pay real close attention and flip them over, make sure they're not sticking to the bottom. If you were to do this with a little bit of a stiffer dough, which is what I would recommend, not going as far as I did and adding in the entire 5 eggs, and instead add in about 4 to 4.5, you will get a much more defined star-like edges to it. But regardless, they're going to be delicious, so it doesn't even matter if you see those ridges in the finished product. And then we just roll them around in cinnamon sugar. This is 1 cup or 200 grams of granulated sugar mixed with 1 tablespoon of ground cinnamon. And these are every bit of what I remember a churro to be. Now, I have not ever had the gluten-free churros from Nomad's Lounge in Disney's Animal Kingdom, but I'm sure that these are just as good, maybe even better, than those. And I'm dipping them in a chili strawberry sauce and a creme anglaise, and I have the recipes for both of those in the recipe on my website, which will be linked below. Enjoy.